Disappointing lottery picks, underachieving, lots of pressure with little time to get things together. Some never take the next leap after their rookie seasons. Guys who were talked about as high school prodigies, ranked on top of their class. The NBA doesn't wait for anybody. Once you get a bad rap, there might never be another second chance. Guys like Jahlil Okafor, out for over a year now playing overseas, and his Kanter, given his outspoken remarks, slowly got benched and fell deeper out the rotation. The season before, he was averaging 11 and 11, top 10 in rebounds. If it wasn't for his outspokenness, more than likely would still be a backup center today. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Some of the disappointing top picks barely hanging on to a roster spot now will unfortunately suffer similar fates to the Okafors and Dante Exums of the world, be out the NBA before the month of May, and many still in their 20s. Starting with Nerlens Noel of the Detroit Pistons, many forget he's still in the league until finally settling the legal disputes with former agent Rich Paul claimed he lost $58 million in potential earnings, accusing Clutch of advising him to reject the $70 million offer to take a one-year deal instead. The Mavs settling for $4.1 million, an absolute travesty of a decision. The Mavs dodged the huge bullet after striking out with Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan. At the time, the 23-year-old still seen having high potential upside with defensive team caliber qualities, but absolutely remained below average. Proceeded to get hurt, lacked production as a bench guy for OKC, couldn't take a leap with New York under defensive coach Thibodeau. Now still only 28 years old, with arguably the worst team in the league and still getting no runs, a disgusting 2.5 point average, 2 rebounds, 11 minutes a game, a team option for next season, no value on a rebuilding roster. In the trade block, worth nothing more than a second round pick, seeing the lowest minutes in production this season, his NBA days getting slim. Stanley Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs. His minor comeback story was nice, but haven't heard much from him since, playing a solid Christmas Day game for 2021 Lakers. Now the 26-year-old should be in the beginning stages of his prime, but never developed offensively. 14 minutes a game for the tanking Spurs after Utah waived him, after showing confidence as a 19-year-old rookie from not being scared of LeBron, being on a bad team, failed to develop with the Raptors, a team known for elevating their young long wings, to Messiah Ujiri telling him he flat out stinks. Stanley hit rock bottom due to his age, his work ethic on the court clearly noticeable with last season's retirement home Lakers, but still showing flaws offensively, just like how many believe Emmanuel Mudiay and Mario Hezonja might have revived their careers after having career seasons with the 2019 Knicks. Both been out the NBA for a couple years now. Johnson, one of those players who already has an NBA body and athleticism, which was why he was drafted high, bullied guys before the NBA, but lacked development and fundamentals. If Johnson doesn't take the next step with the Spurs the next couple months, should be playing 30 plus minutes. He can't even get time out there. His NBA career after this season not looking promising. Frank Kaminsky of the Atlanta Hawks, another name forgotten, clinching onto a roster spot by the skin of his teeth. The 7-footer supposed to be a stretch 4, but peaked his first couple seasons. Not the greatest catch and shoot guy, was the #1 option and played like Dirk Nowitzki in college. Doesn't get a lot of boards for his size, not muscular build. Never averaged 5 rebounds in any season, not known for defense. The presence clearly fell after Dario Saric went down in the 2021 finals. Kaminsky looked decent 9 games into the 2022 season before suffering a knee injury, never found his groove, dropped his career high before getting hurt. Suns ended up waiving him, ended up winning 64 games. The team didn't miss a beat without Frank, which made him forgettable. 2.9 point average for the year, 7 minutes a game, pretty much the 13th guy off the bench. His skill set simply not what most playoff teams looking for, likely never get a huge contract. Kaminsky looking like he'll dominate overseas after this season. Frank Lakina of the Dallas Mavericks, still only 24, barely getting minutes for the struggling Mavs team who desperately needs another floor general outside of Luka. Pick 8 in the 2017 draft. Knicks fans way too lenient and patient on his development, resulted in lack thereof. Defensive upside, being 6'4 with a 7-foot wingspan, his offense never developed. No jump shot, lacks confidence, and given plenty of opportunities, failed to shoot over 40% in any of his seasons. Deep on the bench, we all know J Kidd loves defensive-minded guys, but if the Frenchman can't get on the floor since his shot not good at all, his only hope being a 3-and-D backup, and that's even too much to ask for. Frank hasn't developed playing without the ball, cannot cut to the basket like a Gary Payton II type. Already in year 6, still looks petrified out there, similar to Ben Simmons, but doesn't have the physical tools or size. Since he's only decent on D with no O whatsoever, simply not good enough enough as a long-term NBA player unless you're a center, just like the Andre Robertsons, Michael K. Gilchrist, and Rondae Hollis Jeffersons of the world, all bigger than Frank and been out the NBA for a while now, still being in their 20s. Kevin Knox, more like -20 in terms of production, still in the league for the tanking Pistons, actually playing a little bit, under 15 minutes, a team option for 2024, but likely won't get brought back. So his numbers has been better, 47% shooting, 38 from 3, but way too small of a sample size, under 15 minutes a game, off the bench for the worst team in the East. If he's not getting reps, then forget about other teams wanting him on a super cheap deal. The Pistons don't risk anything, very bad at everything except offense. No handles, a below average passer, struggles getting to the rim, supposed to have a game similar to Tobias Harris, good size and length, but developed bad habits from the Knicks, empty stats, expected to bring the team back to prominence. His time seeing the floor for New York pretty much over after the hiring of Thibodeau, not very outspoken or vocal, not helping him stay relevant, a name easily overlooked and passed on, shows no sense of urgency in proving doubters wrong, still only 23 years old, but hard to point out any improvement in one area of his game since getting drafted 9th overall in 2018. Jackson Hayes of the New Orleans Pelicans, one of the forgotten players on a young coming hungry team. Coach Willie Green realizes Hayes lacks the motor to get better given his opportunities, but the other guys drafted after him showing way more progress. Too late for him to make any noise with New Orleans. Wouldn't be shocked if he gets traded for leftovers, perhaps a second-round pick. Might need extended time in the G League. Despite having good athleticism, lacks the IQ, no skills outside of being able to jump and catch lobs. Some of the reasons why the Pelts couldn't come to an agreement on an extension, waiting till he's a free agent, middle of this season, being a 5-3 guy, not cutting it. The 22-year-old, given his history of showing bad attitude, many front office very aware of his antics, plus the off-court incident leaves a black hole in his name, an easy reason for all the other 29 teams to ignore his name when it comes to free agent signings. The former 8th pick in the 2019 class needs to show huge improvement, work on his game non-stop, and avoid getting in trouble with the law, otherwise teams will avoid him at all costs. Jared Clover, a highly touted prospect out of Texas Tech, nearly leading his team to the title. The now 23-year-old just waived by the Hawks after a two-way deal, lackluster 10 games, 4.4 points in 14 minutes, an absolute travesty of a career. The former 6th pick sent to the Timberwolves for the way better Cameron Johnson. Cleveland dodged the bullet, nearly drafting him instead of Darius Garland because his college team went super far, got locked up by DeAndre Hunter in the title game. Clover went an awful 5 of 22 shooting, also struggled against NBA-type athletes, 13 of 53 from the field. His last 3 collegiate games was a jack of all trades in a good system, master of none, hyped up as an athletic wing, most responsible for running the offense in college, okay on defense, simply not NBA caliber, shoots 40% from the field for his NBA career, 0 playmaking abilities, averages just 1.2 assists, one of the worst shooters, a fast downfall, plus starting his career out with a team like the Timberwolves never helps lottery picks unless you're a generational talent, given plenty of chances, unplayable during his time in the league, up there as one of the worst players, harsh reality. But Clover, one of the worst lottery picks in recent memory. I don't see him getting another chance. Honorable mentions includes Justice Winslow, still 26 with the Blazers. A recent article from The Athletic describing how he had a dark time with Miami, partying and drinking heavy. Now off the bench for Portland, played decent for the Blazers to start, similar to a Draymond Green type glue guy role, still serviceable. Despite injuries getting the best of him, won't have a long career, but likely get picked up as a cheap asset after 2023. While Dennis Smith Jr. started off nicely, first couple weeks in Charlotte, just turned 25 2 months ago, gained some confidence back a little, shown to have really cared and put in the work, a chance to stick around for another couple years. Cam Reddish, a player not given the proper opportunity, things going downhill fast, has a hard time being a role player. If he can't fit in, could be out the league before we could even see his potential. And while James Wiseman will still be in the league likely for another couple years, his situation with Golden State a disaster, no progress after the injuries, barely has any real playing basketball experience the last several years, 3 games in college, no real scouting after the pandemic, drafted 2nd overall based on high school hype and being raw, already one of the most hated players in the entire NBA. I'd be shocked if Golden State doesn't trade him since things not working out. Thanks so much for watching this video. Which one of these former lottery picks disappoints you most? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.